All right. Oh, here we are. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sorry for the delay. Here, let me get things a little bit more situated. How's it going? Been a little bit since I last streamed, largely because I was waiting on this thing. Well, not this thing, literally this thing, the tip of this thing. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. It's a new tip. If you saw the other drawing stream that I was in, or I did, the tip broke on me. So I had to order a new one. So I was waiting on that. And then I unfortunately was feeling a little bit under the weather. So I wasn't able to do all the streaming that I wanted to do because I was planning on doing more streaming earlier this week. But sometimes that's just how it is. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Here, let me. All right. So let's go over things that are happening today. So today is going to be a little bit of a different stream. Largely, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go back to doing some more brainstorming of like ideas for the art and art style for OmniGear. Still, I have some ideas and some ways to take it, but one of the things I'm going to do in addition to that is look at some of the inspiration of things that have like inspired me to be like, oh yeah, I kind of want to like dig into that kind of style and see how that goes and how that reacts and stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing a little bit. So I have some videos pulled up and stuff, and we can just look and try and figure out what things I like about it and what things I don't, and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's largely what we're going to be doing today. So it's going to be a little bit of a different stream, way more of a brainstorm kind of thing. Still trying to do, still like spitballing ideas and things like that. But yeah, also, I'm also going to be streaming tomorrow, and I'm going to be doing some tools work. I have that already queued up, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But yeah, I don't think that I have anything else. It's taken a little bit to get set up. It's a longer setup for me whenever I want to utilize my tablet as well as my computer and stuff. So that's part of the reason why things are a little bit on the more hectic / late side. So what I'm basically going to do right now, I'm going to just give a quick overview on how things work. Oh, I need to switch over to this one. Okay. So as you can see, here's like my sketches that you can see that I've done so far. We're going to look into a little bit of, or some of the games that are on here. Mainly we have Megabyte Punch. There's Armored Core that we're going to look at, and then one that I have discovered. It wasn't something that was like an initial inspiration for me when I initially started working on OmniGear, but then I like discovered it, which is Custom Robo, the 64 version, which was a Japan only title and stuff. And as an American, it was something that I knew of, and I have seen, I believe I saw a screenshot of it like maybe around the time the DS Custom Robo came out, but like that was about it. I didn't see anything else, but there apparently is footage out there, and I wanted to check out the footage and try and figure out all that stuff. But I already have some notes, and I've gone over a couple of these notes in the previous live stream, but for just a quick recap, things that I really like, or I haven't like nailed down a super strong art style yet. I feel like a lot of my thinking has been a lot more technical. So like, oh, am I going to be able to actually pull this off? Like how exactly are these things going to work from a technical side standpoint? So it's not as like freewheeling as I probably would want it to be, which I've noticed where I'm like, oh, I'm very much thinking about like, oh, how can I make this easier on myself in the future? and stuff. And I feel like I want to get into the a more open kind of thing. But with all that said, some of the things that I have, some of the things that I've liked and whatnot. Here, where's these legs? So I was thinking about like all these different like types of parts and things, and trying to figure out like what kind of parts and like designs would work pretty well, and like emphasize the PS1 modernized aesthetic that I'm going for. So something that you can clearly see that it's PS1 inspired, but it definitely looks like it came out in like 2023. Something where it's like, okay, yeah, this doesn't look like it is like coming from like if I plugged in a PS1 and then we're now suddenly playing it, but something where it's like, oh yeah, it's clearly inspired by that. But yeah, so yeah, these are some of the things that I really liked. Some particularly those legs. I really like those kind of legs, and some of this design stuff that I'm into. But I'm still trying to figure out. Like what exactly the aesthetic and the art style of it versus like some of the technical stuff, and things. So, with all of that said, which was a lot of preamble before we do a lot of these things, let's switch over. Oop, gotta do this. So we're gonna switch over to well, one, we're gonna okay, yeah, let's switch over to this. There we go. I'm gonna be looking at some custom Robo videos. Oh geez, sorry y'all. I have way too many windows open just to try and pull this off. Here, let me get some of these things more set up. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking at some of these videos, and I'm gonna try and write down notes at the same time, slash pause and whatnot. So I know this isn't the most ideal way of seeing, like, if this is your first time discovering like custom Robo, the N64 version. I do actually recommend checking it out, because it looks pretty cool from the little that I have seen. But yeah, also give credit. So if you want to check it out, you can check out the link here. I'll leave links to all of these playlists and such in the description. So yeah. All right. One last shout out to one Ben Burns for all the music and stuff in the background, but we are going to unfortunately shut you off. And then we are gonna switch over to playing some custom Robo things. We're gonna do this. There we go. So as you can see, this is some custom Robo things. I'll make this full screen so it's a little easier. So one thing that I was while again doing a really cursory look was that I was like I was shocked by how not faithful, but like how much how like this was to the GameCube version, where it was like, oh wow, there's a lot of things there that are really similar and stuff, including this whole campaign and things, which is not necessarily the thing that I'm the most interested in. So I'm gonna go speed through this. Sorry, y'all. But the thing that I'm more interested in is the aesthetics, and this is where I think a lot of the ideas that I have, slash a lot of the inspiration that I have from this game in particular, shine through. So let's go check this out. I haven't checked out this thing. So we're going to the battle here. This all is like very much the GameCube version as well, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so right away we can already tell these are really textured like backgrounds and things, which is something that I have been also thinking about, of like, oh, do I want to have really detailed slash textured backgrounds environments, which is something I haven't actually thought about too much. Also, yeah, let me know if it's a little too loud or too quiet and whatnot. I can adjust. But yeah, so that's one thing where I'm like, I don't know whether or not I want to have like these textured backgrounds and stuff. But as you can see, if you are familiar with Custom Robo, this looks very similar to Custom Robo on the GameCube or on the DS. And it is quite impressive. And man, I wish that that this game came out in the US, because yeah, it looks super cool. Super cool to play. And there's this awesome English ROM out there to be able to show things. But yeah, I totally just talked through all of that. But yeah, as you can see, we're gonna stop right here. Very low poly models and such, which is something that I'm kind of interested in replicating. So if we, oh sheesh, I've noticed that this is gonna be a little bit. If we go back here, where I have my Custom Robo stuff, I love like the simplified shapes. That was one thing that I picked up on when I just looked at screenshots for from the game. So like when I did all this stuff, I just looked at screenshots rather than video. But that's one thing I really like about this, is like it's super simplified and they're really easily identifiable shapes and whatnot. And that's one thing that I'm trying to figure out, like what is the best way for me to be able to have like that easily defined shape, so that you can clearly tell which direction that the player is, a very distinct shape, so you can tell which player it is at any given point. I'm not as worried about whether or not you can like quickly identify what particular part that the player has. I feel like that will happen more naturally, largely because one thing that I am doing that Custom Robo isn't, which I mentioned in the last stream as well, I think. Anyway, is that I am planning on I am right now completely replacing a part rather than having a body as a base and then attaching parts to it. So like in Custom Robo GameCube, so if you look over here, that body is like the base body, and then you can have and then you change out the like leg parts and the guns and stuff like that, but your body base is still the same. And like I feel like that is such a huge benefit to be able to be like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about like how to attach all these things and all these other stuff, because, or like how these things look together and things like that, because, you know, it's all connected, and they're just like smaller attachments. But for me, I'm doing a full change and whatnot. But again, this is me talking about like technical things, and I feel like I'm getting in my mind whenever I'm thinking about that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's one thing that I've been really thinking about. And like another thing that I've noticed that I've kind of liked, which I don't think that I'm gonna like fully do, but one thing that I did have liked is, let me see if I can highlight these things, is like this thing here. I love these like really bright effects and really like identifiable effects. Even like these bullets or like these hit markers, like impact effects. I think that those are really cool, and things that I would want to do. So I should probably write that down. And now you can see my ugly thing. Also notice how I'm able to write, because I got my thing up to error fixed. All right, so yeah. All right, I have so many wires on my desk. It's a little overwhelming. But yeah, that's something that I'm really trying to figure out. I like, there's just so many things about this where it's like super clear. The environment is really out of the way as well, which I feel like is a benefit and a like a pro and a con, where largely I'm thinking like I would want to have the environment a little bit more, not necessarily in your face, or like not necessarily something where it's like, oh, I want to like pull your attention and be like, oh, look at this amazing environment or whatnot, but just something where it's less basic. Like this is pretty basic. If we switch back over to this and back up into the fight here, like, yeah, this environment seems fairly basic in terms of like the exact things that that are around here. It's just like, here's a wall, some floor change, and then this what you call anemone. There we go. But yeah, I feel like that's largely like these things, like, yeah, you have like this pillar here and stuff like that. And I'm not necessarily thinking that I'm going to have like much more in terms of like, oh yeah, a lot more detail. I don't want to have that. I just want to have like more effects on like the environment for like shaders and stuff. So like right now I have like a pulsing lines that go through the environment and stuff. And like that's the kind of stuff that I really want to try and like figure out and like nail down. So, but yeah, it's really cool to, well, one, it's really cool to see like this iteration of custom Robo in like 64 in a 64 version, which is, it's so shocking to me, again, as a person from America who unfortunately did not have access to this game. It's just so shocking to be like, wow, this is so faithful. But yeah, I really like these like really clear effects. Like you can see this is a very clear effect of like, okay, this is where this is going. This is where this this bullet is traveling, and you can see the damage, or not the damage, the hitbox that this thing is gonna be leaving and stuff. But yeah, that's those are the kind of things that I've been thinking about. One thing also to note, if I back up, is that there are fish just floating around the thing. I'm assuming that they would block bullets and stuff, but that's kind of a cool detail. But okay. But yeah. So this is one of the things where I'm like, yeah, I really like that. I even to an extent, I even like the HUD where it's just like really simple, but you have your like actual number visible. I like that. That's one thing that I do like. But one thing that I do not do, and I am not planning on doing, is like, you see this downed thing and rebirth and stuff. I'm not necessarily going to be showing off like the state of your robot and stuff. Okay, but yeah, that's largely these are like largely some of the things that I've been really into. But yeah, we can move on. Let's I want to see some customization stuff. Oh, and there's an ad. Gotta love the ads. Well, we'll wait out the ads while we sit here. Oh, one other thing before we switch out is one thing that I also noticed is with custom Robo, like this N64 version, the one thing that I've really like latched onto with some of the accessories is how bulky the accessory is. Like, I've also, like, I mentioned this before, but it's really like, I've really found out like, oh, I really like how bulky some of these things are, where like in my I'm trying to find my thing. Yeah, there we go. In this example, I don't have like any accessory part attached to the person. And I'm trying to think of like, oh yeah, well, what kind of like accessory part would I want to do? And I kind of like how bulky the accessory part is. And like, if I switch back over here, there we are. Like, you can see, you can just see how bulky like some of these parts are, to really be like really clear and such. So yeah, if we go, whoop, yeah, you can see like it blows my mind that that this is like on the N64, and yeah, it's fairly, it's like, yeah, this is custom Robo. Yeah, but like you can see, this is also one thing that I want to do in the game, is to have like this preview kind of thing. I'm not entirely sure how I want to pull off the preview stuff, but that's one thing that I was hoping to get in during the Game Jam version, but I ran out of time. Of course, overscoped. But yeah, I like how bulky this is. So like you can clearly see that this is this identifiable thing, and this mindset is particularly for the accessories and not necessarily for like the arms and things. If we look back over to this, like I'm not necessarily worried about like, oh yeah, I want to have these arms really bulky, or the legs be super, like you can tell that these are the legs and whatnot. These are like, these legs in particular, you could probably tell that. But no, I wanna figure out like if I were to add some type of accessory. Oh yeah, hold on. I love how I'm trying to adjust and be in the camera at the same time, and I have all this stuff on my computer or on my desk. But yeah, so like if I were to try and like figure out like, okay, well, how do I want to get these accessory things in? I don't know how exactly. Oh, here, let me put on some music while I'm doing that. I'm not entirely sure how exactly I want to do that. So like if I were to just have like a backpack kind of thing, like say like I had a missile launcher, like I already have missile launchers in the thing, like the size here is pretty I don't know. Nope. Also, this is now me realizing that I'm gonna say I don't know a lot throughout a lot of this, because I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I want / what I think it would work best. But yeah, like this seems like it would be fine. It could be something bigger, but this seems like comically too large. It looks like it's an overstuffed backpack kind of thing. And yeah, that's another thing, where like this works for, well, this might work for like a missile launcher kind of thing, but depending on what the body looks like, I don't know how exactly that's gonna work. So like, for instance, so here we have a body that is more or less a square. We have a square, and we'll just have the circle, and it's attached somehow. Sure, cool. And here's where the thing is, visor. Beautiful drawing, very clear. And I'll just have it be floating things. Sure, it looks like a spring. Why not? I'm not entirely sure how exactly every like body type would attach with the accessories, unless the accessories would be like a floating piece. I'm not sure. Oh, how much of your playing time do you spend on drawing pen? You seem to realize that pretty well. Oh, thank you. I actually tend to draw a lot of my ideas. Well, I draw a lot of like when I'm in this like brainstorming stage, I draw a ton. So I'm like constantly drawing, and then unfortunately I have a bad habit of then erasing, like, oh no, it doesn't work, and then I just erase the thing. So that's something that I should probably stop doing, because it's nice to be able to go back and look at all the stuff, and some of the early things can inspire new things. Anyway, but yeah, I probably draw a lot in the early stages, but when I am like deeper in development and such, it's largely just so that I can get whatever ideas that are in my head out of my head, to be something more like, okay, I can now reference this, rather than have to keep like thinking and using mental space to be able to be like, okay, this is the thing that I really want to do, and whatnot. And that's kind of how I treat a lot of either like drawing applications or project management applications like Trello or Notion or something like that. I try to be like, okay, offload all of this stuff that's in my head out to elsewhere. That way, then I don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah. But yeah, going back with the accessory stuff, I'm not entirely sure how these things can connect. So like, let's say I am sticking with this missile launcher thing. The missile launcher here, like if I were to do like a missile launcher thing, sure, it would look something like that. It looks more like a jetpack, but you know, it would be attached here and maybe like you can bend over and then missiles would shoot out. But like if, and this is, I think that I mentioned this last time, but it's something that I've also been thinking about, is like how extreme are the body types? So like this one is a fairly small body type, but like what happens if I had a very horizontal one where like I have one somewhere, this one, yeah, I have one like here. Like what would the accessory look like here with this kind of thing? Because this is definitely not, this is more of an extreme version of a body type versus in comparison to like a box. This is very horizontal driven rather than a uniform thing. Or what happens if it was like a very vertical thing? So like if I were to be like, oh yeah, now we're gonna have a very elongated box, and I guess it would, here's the head. Why not? Looks like we're now like a, I don't know, a truck or something. Yeah, still really, really good art. I know how to draw. But yeah, like, I guess that it would like attach. Like if I were to do the same angle, it would look attached right here, I guess. And then I'd have to figure out how to do that kind of attachment, which is a weird attachment. I can either do that, or if I did, we're just gonna, yeah, real quick. Or does it like conform to the angle of the body, which then would mean that like this arc would shoot out in a different angle than here, which is, yeah, another thing that I'm like, I'm trying to think about that. And this is why I'm getting really into the weeds / like the technical stuff, because I'm just not entirely sure how all that works. I feel like I should probably limit the body range so that it's not like you're a truck and then now you're a person and then now you're a donut. I don't know. You're now an inflatable tube. I think that that's probably something that I should probably be like, okay, let's chill on the super varied sizes, because I can replace the body part or the body type. If I had it similar to like a custom Robo where it's like this is a set body type, I think that I would want to then have like very distinct, like super distinct body types and stuff, and like play around with like, oh, what happens if you were just a head, or oh, what happens if you were yeah, a humanoid, or oh, what happens if you were super tiny or whatever. So yeah, I don't know, it's definitely something that I'm still trying to think about. And like going back to here, it's definitely like clear that the body types for all of the custom Robo ones, even in the N64 ones, are not nearly as they're not like suddenly you're now like a car and you have to, and all these things are interchangeable for that. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm still trying to figure out. But yeah, it still blows my mind that this this is basically the exact same. Like, yeah, this is custom Robo. Oops. But yeah, that's something that it's really interesting to see that kind of thing. Again, this also very custom Robo, and then go like, and then yeah. Anyway, oh, same spot. I'm gonna look at other environment. That's one other thing that I have not, which I already mentioned, is that I haven't really thought about like environments as much. I don't know if there's gonna be another environment thing going on, or another battle with a different environment thing going on. I'm just trying to scroll through. If not, that's fine. I'll try and find one while we're doing this. But yeah, I don't know. What are everybody's thoughts in terms of like body, the variety in terms of body sizes and types? Like, do I want to have it so that you can be a truck? Do I want to have it so that you can be a humanoid, or I guess I don't know what the equivalent of a very tall tall person is. You can be a wall, and then yeah, I don't know. That just seems weird to be a wall, and then I guess in this case it would be the same, but that'd be weird and not at all not at all a thing that I would want to do. But yeah, I don't know. Gonna go jump over to another thing. Oh, there's like 25 things going on. Yeah. So well, I guess that's one potential spot that I can go down, which is the custom level thing. Oh, here's another arena. Ooh, this looks like a cool one. Let me switch over and mute. There you go. But yeah, this is another thing that I also mentioned in my previous video, or my first devlog, is that like I could probably get away with having some really cool levels and such, of like being like, oh, what if I did I can like do some really simple stuff in order to extend. Oh, I want to see more of this battle thing here, but I can do some really cool and simple things to like get more out of some of the design things for my, I love how I'm just waving this around, get some more design things for my levels and like hazards and stuff. I feel like just that, like moving up and down into like that lava is really cool. Yeah. But yeah, I love how really clear, like, oh, this is a thing. This is a thing traveling in this direction, and it's going to do something. I like that kind of thing. I think it's a little harder to see people because it's a little bit more muddy on this thing. They match a little bit more, but that one's a little harder, a little harder to deal with. But yeah. But all right, that is custom Robo, N64 custom Robo, and me looking at that. One thing that I think my like takeaways here, especially just looking at this, is like I really like the simplified, like even maybe not the simplified animations, but like really like the simplified shapes, and like seeing it in action, it really makes it so like it's so like, okay, these are you still have like very animated and clear shapes and identifiable shapes from far away, and yeah, I really like that, and that's something that I want to do. And I've written that down, and I've also noticed the effects that is something that is also something that I really am liking as well. Yeah. So for the other thing that I want to check out, is if we, I love how I'm just moving all around here, is for Megabyte Punch. So yeah, Megabyte Punch by Team Reptile. That is something where I'm like, oh yeah, it's an example of a game that has like interchangeable parts, but it's the entire part that is changing. And that's this is where this technical part comes in a lot, where I'm like, okay, well, this has a bunch of like technical changes, but the overall shape of each part isn't extremely distinct. It definitely is more distinct. It definitely, or not necessarily more, it's less distinct than in like Custom Robo. And it's not like you can be a car and then you can be a person, then you can be a donut. I don't know why I keep saying a donut, but yeah, just like, even just like looking at the screenshot or the promo art, like I can tell the legs overall, these legs overall look like these legs to an extent in terms of size and like the overall shape. Same with like the gun arms here. They're more or less this size arms and stuff. And from when I the last time that I played this game a couple of years ago, although I did play it a little bit. I think I played it a little bit while I was working on OmniGear, the Game Jam version. But anyway, when I was the last thing I do remember like them having fairly similar sized things in terms of like, oh yeah, this clearly is it needs to attach at a certain point because this is how this is what an arm part will connect to, or this is what a body part will connect to and whatnot. So you're not going to get like drastically different hitboxes and stuff, because that is also a good point. Because yeah, that's a really good point, because here's some footage of Megabyte Punch, but like it's a brawler, it's a side-scrolling brawler, and like that is something like, oh man, it would be hard, it would be weird to have like different hitboxes for some of these things. Would players have the freedom to recolor each body part, or would each body match the robot in its original form? I think that it would probably, that is something that I have thought about, but I haven't like really committed to. I think that it would probably have it so that you well, I do want to have it so that you can clearly identify this is an enemy and this is a friend. And in OmniGear, you can play in teams. So having it so that it would recolor based off of your team automatically would be nice. I know in Custom Robo, you can like, it'll by default, if you're playing like a no multiplayer match, it'll recolor your robot to look like with the color of your team. If you're playing like 2v2, but at the same time, but you can also switch it to be like the original colors of whatever the parts are, and there is the thing that I don't know I would want to do. I guess I don't know if I would want to have it so that like there's an original color of a particular part. If that makes sense. Largely because like I don't like what would here, I keep on switching between all these things. Cause like, okay, let's go back to the most successful drawing. Yeah, like what would this part's original color be? I guess. Because it kind of makes sense in Custom Robo to have an original. Well, even then, kind of not, because in custom Robo, like these are the original color. This is the original color for the robot. And I guess it makes sense because this is more of an identifiable, like this is a particular robot with a bunch of attachments that you're changing versus also in Megabyte Punch, there's not like an original color for the parts. You can just change, like it's like in Destiny how you can change the shader for all your clothes to make them match and look correct. And like I feel like that's how this is, and there's not like a particular original color. So I think that I would want to have it so that it either is based off of your team's color. I'm just trying to think about this now. It's either based off of your team's color, or do I want to have it so that, or there would have to be some other identifiable thing to say like this is your team. If I were to allow you to change the color to be like whatever like color scheme you want. If I was to be like, okay, yeah, you can have a red and blue, you know, there's two teams, red and blue, but both of you can change your color to be like orange and green and whatever robots, but like the outline is red always, or like there's something that is like easily identifiable that's not a UI element. That's not just like player one and then it's like red or something like that. I would want to do that because you can turn off the HUD for one thing, but two, I want to have it so that it's really clear and obvious just from like looking at the robot, what robot is fighting what thing. Yeah, that's a good question and totally got me on a whole tangent. Yeah, it's a good question and a good thing to think about because because even if I were to allow you to like change the color scheme and whatnot, I think I would do the like set colors or set color schemes rather than have you just be like, and now you're whatever color with whatever color, largely just so that you can so they look good from whatever thing. So like I just come up with a large group of colors that do a wide variety of possible ranges and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could totally be convinced to work on or allow you to have something different and whatnot. Yeah. I don't remember what I was originally talking about, but that was that was really a good tangent to go off of. So yeah, no, I think it was about the sizes of the parts and like having, oh yes, it was the hitboxes and having like the different size things. Like this is relatively the same size as this, although I can't really tell in this promotional art. But like if you look here, these one thing that I do have a critique on is that I don't feel like these two things are extremely distinct. Like you wouldn't be able to be like, oh yeah, that's clearly this setup and whatnot. Some of the parts you get that, but it's also just really hard to do that from a 2D side-scrolling brawler perspective because you only have the side profile, and that entire side profile can be changed. So yeah, so I don't think that it's a fault of the game or anything. But yeah, that's this also this proportion is something that I've liked, which is also similar to what you call this here. I also like this proportion here. These proportions where it's like the head, it's like a chibi version of like this, I guess. Yeah, and that it is something that I've been like liking more and more. I am now discovering literally the second is this like this size. Okay. Okay. I kind of like that. And I am coming to grips of like, oh yeah, that is something that I do like. Huh. I'm trying to also think about like, yeah, how do I make it so that it's not as well, it's one difference here here in comparison to what I particularly want to do is like this doesn't have the simplified shapes. These are fairly like detailed and complicated. These are fairly detailed. Lots of small pieces, lots of small details that you can look at and whatnot throughout all this. And I think that that might be part of the or that is something that I don't want to get into. But I also don't want them to look so simple that they're just like, oh, okay, well, it's just the box and whatnot. I'm not trying to make like Hyperdot in 3D, if that makes sense. That is a good point. Also, I realize I have no music, but we can switch back over to this. But yeah, you can see. Yeah, this has a different the different problem of like, oh, this is a side-scrolling game and whatnot, but you can change every part on your person, which is also really good. I want to see. There we go. That was some customizing parts. So yeah, like even looking at this, like the like this here. Oh hey, look, this is my favorite type of leg design so far. But like even there, I don't think that that's extremely different. Like you can. I'm trying to get a good thing. There we go. So like yeah, that's not like this. Definitely looks like a bipedal leg. Yeah, and and it's like the same. I feel like yeah, these would all be the same animations and stuff. Whereas, my parts would change the animation based off of like if it's the spider leg thing, or if it's the like a floating leg, or if it's like a humanoid kind of thing. That's a good point too. These are good points, and I feel like I'm slowly getting somewhere. Like I've moved the progress bar maybe 2, 3%, 4%. I also feel like I'm just like holding myself back because I'm thinking about all this technical stuff. But I don't know. Maybe I'm too down on myself for a lot of those things. So let's put on some music while I'm looking at this, thinking about sizes and stuff. I like the size, but I don't like. The thing I don't like about this is like all the details. I also I would want to change some of like the overall lighting of the thing is something that I'm not as big of a fan of in here. But I like the I don't know. I like the way that it's stylized, like it's stylized lighting. I like that. I don't know. Well, okay. Let's draw something so that it's not just me sitting here contemplating life. in life choices. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my oh geez, trying to adjust my stuff to make it work. Okay. So let's switch over to this. So if we were to use this as an example, we have like this sized head that is based off of you don't really get to see the things. Oh man, here I'm looking at the parts list real quick just to see, like, okay, yeah, the bodies don't have the attachments. It's the legs and the extremities that have the attachments. So like this head is the thing that has the neck that connects to the body. And then we have like a little bit bigger of a body. And then for the legs, but it's a little hard to tell from here, but it looks like, yeah, looks like this size. Yeah, something where like the legs are attached to this. And that's the thing that I've really latched onto as well. It's like having this, the hips attached. I think there's for Megabyte Punch, I believe that the hips are a separate part. I'm trying to remember if that is the case. I could just oh yeah, I think so. I think they are just a separate part. I think somebody can correct me if and then yeah, the size of the arms are I would say as big as the head. Definitely leaning into that chibi aesthetic. T-posing. Let me hydrate. Yeah, no, that's a good point there. Because yeah, these attach as well. But like, I feel like, well, in these particular instances, I feel like these are very bulky parts. So you don't, yeah, so you don't really get to see like the skinnier stuff. And even in the video that I have, these are very bulky parts. Oh, I still got the thing going. Yeah, not sure. But yeah, okay. So things that I am digging about this is I really am liking the proportions here. Because I think like if I were to make a more extreme version of this, you can have it so that like okay, a more extreme version, but it's still like a humanoid look, would be like, I don't know, like, yeah, let's say that it's a very long head. That part I don't feel like is at all hard to get to work, because like, yeah, I can just do that. But then I have let's say I have a very bulky part here, and ooh, that's also another good point of like the hitbox thing that I was talking about earlier is like, oh yeah, do I want to also include shaping the hitbox differently? Right now I don't, for multiple reasons. One being the fact that right now everything's 2D, but yeah, no, that I think that makes, I think I like the hitboxes being the same, even if the size of the, yeah, having the hitboxes be the same or relatively the same, even if the size changes, which would then limit the size of the like how drastic I would want to make like my like parts and stuff. So the whole Contessa look here, I love Contessa from Sly Cooper, but this whole look here would probably be like, if I had to make it, this would probably be the limit of the hitbox there, which would mean, but yeah, like this is a huge thing in comparison to like this. Not in comparison to this. I think that if I made a hitbox of similar size to that, I'd feel more confident with that. But if I made a hitbox where it was like, yeah, it's the Contessa's size, I'd be like, oh man. I do have the so here, let me go pull up OmniGear. Looking for OmniGear. There you go. Possibly. There you go. I'm gonna try and connect. Cool. Yeah, connected. Or not. Every time. Hold on. Gotta reconnect my controller. There you go. But one thing that I do have is, yeah, so you can see on the ground, there's the circle identifier to be able to be like, oh yeah, this is the like this is where the player is and where the player is looking. I think that size is probably what I would want for the hitbox. It seems like, yeah, I think it's a little bit bigger than that right now, but like have the indicator be the size of your hitbox. So I wouldn't want to make it so that you're drastically bigger than that or drastically smaller than that, because like, yeah, I don't have, oh, this is an old build, by the way, because you can tell the things are on the side. But yeah, I guess this makes it so that this works. So yeah, like here, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'd still lose the indicators of the P1 and P2 thing if I had no HUD. But yeah, I really do want to make it so that this game could be played without that, even though you'd have a looser definition of like who is winning and who is losing. Okay. That's good. That's a good discovery there. Is, yeah, trying to figure out like the size, just to figure out the size of the player and whatnot. I think that makes a lot of sense to go based off of that indicator, because I feel like that is an appropriate size / it would help identify, like easily identify the area in which you get hurt or not. Okay. Good to try and figure that part out. Let's switch back over here. So if that is the case, yeah, this is all based off of the fact that I was changing this. So if that is the case, then I don't want to like be like, and now I'm a huge brute. Like, this is the body. I definitely don't want to have this be the body part and then have like arms floating over here and over here. I mean, you're looking like a really thick Kirby, I don't know, like anti-Kirby where you're only squares. But yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I don't think that that makes a lot of sense. Which I've done some similar things. Right, yeah, here. Yeah, here. Oh yeah, there's the contested look. Yeah, okay. I wouldn't want to keep on saying, yeah. I wouldn't want to do that here. Or I'm okay with this. Because that doesn't look like the, well, because from sketch form, these don't look like they're necessarily the main thing in which you get hit by. Like, of course, this body looks like the main thing that you get hit by. And even though these are like really wide, I feel like I can get away with doing that a little bit more, as long as it's not like drastically different from the indicator size. So having that average size there, I would feel like that. So yeah, I think all of this is to say I actually think that I am more confident in saying like, okay, no, I want to have just the player, like a fairly standardized size for the player, which actually like lifts a lot of the burden of me being like, well, I gotta make sure that everything works XYZ ways. That actually, like, yeah, lifts so much of the burden and makes this process feel a little bit more enjoyable, rather than be like, oh man, well, I'm in over my head. Because yeah, that also could be scope creep, is to try and figure out like, oh, have everything in there be supported and stuff. Okay, but yeah, so with this, with Megabyte Punch, yeah, I'm digging the proportion. I also dig the stylized lighting, not necessarily the shading and whatnot, but the like the stylized art style kind of thing I'm kind of liking. But that one, I feel like I'm gonna have to like actually get a model in there and then mess around with lighting / shading to see whether or not I really am digging the look and stuff. Because who knows, it could be a pretty drastic difference in look ultimately after I'm done doing all this stuff. But my main goal, aside from all this, my main goal for a lot of this is to have it so that I basically have, so in here, we'll switch back here and we'll go select parts. So my main goal is to get just to get one set in and done, to be like, okay, this is how a part can look. So like you can see that I have a standard beam, revolvers, standard legs, and accessories, that stuff. I want to have like a version of this with the art style in mind, and then I'm running around and stuff to have that feel good. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a 1-to-1 correlation with what is already in there, because like the standard legs right now are floating legs, which I don't want to do. I don't want to have that be your standard legs. So yeah, I'll definitely have to think about that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely feeling more confident. I'm not feeling like overly confident, but I'm feeling more confident at least. In some of the things that I'm doing. So let me hydrate while I think about my life choices. All right. All right. So let's think. If I were to if I were to let's say if I were to look at Megabyte Punch and be like, I really like the fact that you're able to switch out like the big part, like each part, and they're all unique shapes and whatnot. I do actually really like that. But I like, let's say that we also kept the idea of like the attachments. Really, like how does this one thing attach here? And based off of here, let me switch back over to what you called here. Oop. There's so many things I have to balance. Sorry for the sloppier production. That's not what I want to look at. I want to look at the parts again. There we go. Like, yeah, based off the parts. Oh, I wish that I had a little bit better. I know, it's so sloppy. It's the worst. But yeah, basically I'm looking at the parts and I'm like, how do these things actually attach to each other? Because this is less of an art style thing and more of a technical thing. I keep waving this, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's one thing where I'm like, I definitely am trying to figure out like, well, how do I actually attach all these things together? And how do I actually have these parts, like how do I make a robot look cohesive without making it look like a jumbled mess, I guess? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing that I don't know. The way that the arms in here attach, I believe they all have like the same style of attachment point. Although I can't really find a good more ads. But yeah, I can't really find a good like example of like something where like if they had a ton of arm like variants or things like that. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, not BRB. Not that. There we go. Nailed it. So sloppy. Yeah, I don't know. Cause like based off of this stuff, it's just, it has a standardized thing. So like the arms are very standardized. It's always going to have the same animation. And it's always going to have the same kind of thing. I think that's the way in which you get by doing that. So it's standardized. Because even like, yeah, even looking at these parts. So yeah, okay, it's standardized, and then you have the different animations for like the different legs. Yeah, that's how you do it, which is what I was thinking of doing. Which I believe if you roll back the tape, that's how I said, yeah, that's how I want to do that for like the spider legs and the floating legs, and then yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, that's something that I definitely want to try and figure that out. Okay. Okay. Hmm. 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 Yeah, I don't know. Well, sorry, sorry for all this rambling and me, sitting here being like, yeah, over and over. I'm trying to figure this out because it has been something that has blocked me for now a month or so. Well, I guess the pen thing was one thing that was also blocking me, but yeah, it's been something where I'm just like really struggling to figure out what exactly the direction I want out of this. And if I were to even like look at Armored Core, if I just jumped over to Armored Core, look at that. See, like I want to be able to support something like this, where this is clearly a different style of locomotion, where like, yeah, you're sliding around and whatnot. And I want to be able to support that. Though the upper part is just an upper part. And that's similar to like if I were to switch over here, I can just be like, yeah, this upper part is the upper part. And then I can just change the locomotion to be looking like this, or look like this, or look like this, or I don't know what other things. Or yeah, even if it was like a one wheel thing, I'd be like, oh yeah, that looks pretty well. That looks easy enough to understand and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I keep saying that. I don't know. Now I'm just really conscious of it and aware. So sorry. Okay. Okay. But yeah, let's actually switch back to Armored Core to see. Okay, here's up. Sorry, and we're actually gonna play some sound. Oh, and of course it switches to what you call. Oh, let's go look at. So I played the demo of Armored Core back in the day. Rather than, there we go. There's some stuff. Yeah, but I played the demo of Armored Core back in the day on a PlayStation demo disc. That's how I have the majority of my. I wouldn't actually say the majority of my experience of Armored Core, because then I did play Armored Core 4 on 360. A little bit. I didn't play that much of it though. But yeah, this clearly has like attach points. Even if you completely change out like bodies. And hey, look at that. You can change out the color. I should probably just allow you to change out like the patterns and stuff. Well, because I could do that. I could just have it so that I can have different, like there's a primary and a secondary color. Yeah. And then you can just change out that. But I would really want, if I do that, I really would want to have it so that you can identify a player from a team in a different way. And I don't want to have like a flag that's like red team or whatever. That's something that I'm not too excited about. Loading. There's a lot of loading in this game. It's a PlayStation 1 game. You have the color be a set color. If the team, but when I want to, you could show your chosen colors. That is true. Yeah, that actually is a really good point. I could have it, well, yeah, how do I want to? how would I show that in UI? That could just be, I mean, I could try and figure out the way in which, from like a UX perspective of like, oh, I want to be able to change my color and whatnot. Because right now, a free-for-all match is just everyone's on a different team. And so I would have to change that. But no, I think that makes a lot of sense. Have it so that it's like, yeah, you can just change your color to be whatever or something like that. Yeah, maybe do something like that. Or the one thing that I've been thinking about is like, yeah, like everybody has an outline around around their silhouette, and then it's like that color outline is whatever team you are. So then you could have a pink whatever team, pink like color scheme and whatnot, but your outline is blue. I don't know, something like that. But that will require testing and seeing whether or not people understand that those colors relate to each other and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Again, sorry for saying I don't know all the time. Nope. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not really getting a lot else out of this other than, man, Armored Core. Yeah, it was pretty fun back in the day. Yeah, I'm not getting a lot out of this other than that, and I like the what you call this part select stuff. It actually gives me more confidence in terms of like the variety of things, because each part is definitely a separate thing. I love how it's just, there we go. Each part is definitely its own separate thing. Where like, let me no, there we go. No, go back one more. Like actually go buy a part. Okay, well, we'll just wait for this to do its thing. But like, yeah, each part, it feels like its own sectioned off thing, so that you can have the tank treads and like the what you call bipedal legs, or the floating whatever, and like the top part is its own thing. And I think that that's kind of cool. Yeah, but I don't know. Oh, there you go. Yeah. And I remember a lot of the like actual accessory things that you attach are very standardized. So yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like at this point, if we switch back over to my sketches, at this point, I feel much more confident. Much more. Okay, I feel more confident. I don't know whether or not I've moved the needle as far as my confidence has moved. But I do feel more confident in terms of like the direction in which some of the technical slash like, yeah, I guess the technical things that I've been thinking about. So for instance, like having the like the size of the player, the colors also is actually one thing that's pretty has like added some clarity there. The like types of parts, like the variety in parts and stuff, that's been really nice to go through. The simplicity of the parts in Silhouette versus the complexity of some of the parts in like Megabyte Punch. I also feel a lot more confident in that. But yeah, I feel more confident in that kind of stuff. So that's actually kind of a relief because I feel like I've just for like the last month I've just been spinning my wheels, being like, oh, what do I do? How do I do all this stuff? But maybe it is I'm at a point where I should actually model out some of these things. Like I should model out the most successful of these things, which is why I keep coming back to this. The most successful of these things of like, oh yeah, what if I modeled this in 3D and see like how this all connects and stuff. But doing that, I haven't done 3D modeling in a good while. I think it's been over 4 or 5 years since I've done 3D modeling, and it's been over like 8 years since I've done Blender 3D modeling. Last time I did it was in 3ds Max. But I'm going to be using Blender this time to do my modeling and things. Largely because that is what I first learned on, and I do not have 3ds Max anymore. so those are part of the reasons why. And that's going to be a whole thing. So I'm going to have to relearn how to do 3D modeling and stuff. And even then, back when I was doing it, I would not consider myself super proficient at it. But it's something that, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing, and I'm kind of excited to dive back in. But I'll try and show off a lot of that like learning process and stuff, because again, one thing that I've been saying for a very long time is that, well, throughout this the life of this channel, is that like, yeah, you don't always have to know exactly what you're doing, because that's not how humans work. Sometimes you just got to learn, and you have to learn, figure things out, stumble, mess up, but it's okay, because you don't know everything literally right at jump. You gotta learn. But all right, I'm gonna call it there. Thanks everybody for hanging out and hearing me say I don't know, yes, yeah, all the time. But thank you again for everybody for hanging out. I know this was a little bit of a different live stream, largely because it's just a lot of me brainstorming and like second guessing myself, although I guess that's not always all that different. But yeah, thanks everybody for, yeah. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, thanks so much everybody for all the things. I really do hope that at least it gives them some insight into my like thought process and creation process and stuff. Oh my goodness, thanks Ayla. But yeah, I hope that this does give a little bit of insight to that, and like that, even people like I've been making games for, oh man, my anniversary for making or starting Tribe Games just came by, and I think it's my 12th year of doing that. For just Tribe Games is like 12 years, but I've been doing this since I was 8. So like, yeah, it's been however long, 12 plus years, and I still am constantly learning and stumbling and trying to learn new things and stuff like that. And even if in these raw processes of just trying to figure out what exactly I want out of these things, that's one of the things I want to showcase. But yeah, thanks everybody again for hanging out. And just again, if you missed at the top of the stream, I am planning on doing some coding stuff this weekend, so that is planned. You can actually check. You can look in all of my scheduled streams and click notify if you want to join there. But of course, you can check out the VOD afterwards. But yeah, thanks everyone again. I also just now realized that there is no music. Oh, geez. We went to scary times. Thanks again, Ben Burns, for providing the music. But thanks again, everybody. I'm going to call it there, and I'll talk to you all later.